if you don't mind. Hi, Rebecca.
After this, Jesus went to the farther side of the Sea of Galilee, that is, the Sea of Tiberias, and a great crowd was following him because they had seen the signs, miracles which he continually performed upon those who were sick. And Jesus walked up the mountainside and sat down there with his disciples. Now the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was approaching. Jesus looked up then, and seeing that a vast multitude was coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread so that all these people may eat?"
All right, thank you, Cindy. Now you caught us up to par where we are. By the way, the place called Tiberias, is that used any place else in the New Testament, the word Tiberias? No? Only in John's writings. That's the only one that uses the name Tiberias. And this is, we have, it was named after Caesar. Who named that city after Caesar?
Herod.
Huh? Herod. Herod the Great named it after Caesar. Okay? And that is also, Tiberias would be the place where the writings of the Old Testament were copied. There's where we have the so-called modern ancient scrolls of the Jews. Of course, the oldest scrolls of the Jews come from where? Huh? No. Where do the oldest copies of the Hebrew Scriptures come from today? What, Cindy? The Dead Sea Scrolls, which goes back to about 1000 BC. Some of that occupation there goes back to 1000 BC. All right. That can give you a little bit of just, I wanted you to understand that none of the other writers in the New Testament use the word Tiberias. Okay? And there we are, right here. I don't know whether I brought that out when we passed that goal earlier or not, when we went through there. There's a lot of verses in chapter 6 of the book of John. And it starts out with meditate. Meditate. John loves that term meditate. And what does meditate mean? Meditate. Huh? After these things. John uses that in almost all of his writings in the book of Revelation and the Gospel of John. It is used over and over and over. Hello, Brother Mike. 6 and 6. John Kata Iwane 6 and 6. Tuto. De elegate. Parazon. Auton. Autos. Gar. Ede. T. Amalan. Poyen. All right. This actually starts out with a weak adversative conjunctive particle, which is de. And that means moreover, or and this. He kept on saying, look at that third person singular imperfect indicative active. Look at that. Perfect tense. Imperfect tense. The Greek is a very big language with tenses. Hebrew shows a lot of action. But in reality, Hebrew only has 2 tenses, even though they have 7 verb stems or roots, whatever you want to call it. What are the 2 tenses in Hebrew that are actually in use? Brother Roger, you know?
Perfect and imperfect.
Perfect and imperfect. That's right. Boy, you got an A+ for that one tonight. Perfect tense means what? Completed action. Imperfect tense means what? Continuous action. All right. So here we have that. I thought I'd bring that into your attention just a little bit while we're here. And this he kept on saying. Testing. All right, testing, parazon. That comes from parazo, testing them, or testing him. For he had known what he kept on being about to do. Or he kept on being about to do. 6 and verse 7 now, 6 and 7. Apokrithe, auto, Philippos, diakosion, denarion, artoi, uk, arkusen, autois, hina, ekostos, raku, lape. should have said brake. And he answered to him, Philip, 200 days' wages. That's what it said. That's what it literally should mean. 200 days' wages, a denarii, and in King James it's called what? What's it called in King James? Pennies. A penny. But it's a denarii is a day's wages. That's how much money you make for a day's wages. That's a denarii. So there's 200 days' wages we have. All right? Loaves not, they are enough for them. Look at that word, they are enough. Third person, plural, present, indicative, active. We can't buy enough loaves of bread. By the way, the word artoi there, that's bread in ancient Greek. In modern Greek, what does that word artos mean? In modern Greek. Anybody know? That's the holy bread. That's a communion bread. That is not what they use today. The language has changed quite a little bit. And then not, adverb of negation. You want to write down 294 underneath there. That's what page it's on. They are enough. They keep on being enough. Archeo, third person plural, present, indicative, active. For them, in order that each one, brake, a little tiny bit, he may take or he may receive. Now look down there, la be there. Third person singular, second aorist. Second aorist, what kind of action is that? How many know what second aorist action besides Cindy? It's durative. It is a little more durative linear, a punctiliar action. It's a little bit more time. It's punctiliar, but it's a little more duration to it. And it's in the subjunctive mode. What does that mean? Subjunctive mode. Maybe, maybe not. Thank you. You guys are getting A pluses over here too. All right, 6 and verse 8 now. 6 and verse 8. Lege auto, haste, and that's with a rough breather, by the way. Ek, tone, mathe tone, autu, andrios, ho, adelphos, simonos, petru. And he says to him, one out of the habitual learners to him, that's what the word mathetes means. The habitual learners belonging to him, that autu there, that is in genitive singular masculine. Genitive is a case of what? The case of possession. Does Hebrew have a genitive case? Yes, it does. Case of possession. Andreas. Andreas. What's Andreas mean? What's that name mean? Andreas. Andrea is a woman's name. Andrew is a man's name today. It would be Andrew. Andreas. What does that mean? You know, Brandy?
Is it like mighty warrior or something?
It means manly.
Manly. It's
Manly.
not name.
Manly.
Oh, I should know that.
Manly. All right. Thank you, Brandy. The brother, adelphos. What does brother mean? Adelphos. What does brother literally mean? Adelphos. Adelphos, adelphe. Brother and sister. Adelphos is brother, adelphe is sister. What does that mean? You remember from the same womb. From Delphi womb, from the same womb. So these are literally brothers from the same woman. Okay? Jesus had brothers and sisters, you know. From Mary. I was listening to a Catholic program the other day, and they said, the sinless Mary. And of course they said that she never had any other children. Of course they only invented that in the last century. A lot of this about Mary. Simonos. Simonos. What's Simonos mean? What is the Hebrew word for Simonos? That's a Hebrew word, but it's changed in Greek. Simeon. What does it mean? To hear or to listen or to obey. And then Petru. All right, Petru, what does that mean? Peter, what does that mean? All right, a little stone, little rock, a little stone, something you can throw. 6 and verse 9. 6 and verse 9. Estin, Paidorion, Hode, hos, eke, pente, artus, krithenos, kai, dio, opsaria, alla, tauta, t, estin, ace, to suntos. And here we have a young boy. He is, third person singular, present indicative active. A young boy, paidarion. Paidarion. How do we know this is a young boy? How old is this young boy? In Greek, you know. How old is this young boy? Brother Mike, you remember that? Sharon, do you remember this one? He's school age. He's at least 7 or 8 years old. Okay, he's an age where he is sent to school. This is a grammar school boy, so to speak. A young boy here. That word hode, that's an adverb of place. Who, nominative singular masculine relative pronoun. He has. That comes from echo. Echo, eke, eke. That's how you decline that one. He has, third person singular present indicative active. 5, pente. What does Pentecost mean? 50. All right. It has pente in there, doesn't it? And then artos. He has 5 loaves. 5 loaves of bread, this young man does. And what kind of bread is it? Poor man's bread. What kind is it?
Barley.
It's barley. It's not wheat. It's barley. Okay? Barley. And 2 opharia. 2 fish. Strong adversative conjunctive. Page 15 is where you find that. But these, what is it? What is it among so many people, this large crowd? Look at that word, astosutos. Astosutos. What is the grammatical rule for ace? That preposition there. You remember who remembers that one? I know Cindy does. You remember what that one is, Cindy? You haven't asked you that in 6 months, but extension? Brother Randall?
Extension or limitation of thought or verbal action.
That's right. Extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. Now let's put it in practice right here. Okay? Am I going too deep in grammar for you guys tonight? No? Okay. I want to bore you to death. What is it? Unto so many. Now let's look at the so many for a minute. How many so many are there here? How many are these so many? It's a no close. How many is that? At least 5,000 people. All right, the word ace means extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. So, how many loaves of bread and fish will be distributed through the whole crowd? Through the whole crowd, forward and backward. Do you see the action of that preposition there now? Forward and backward. Through the whole crowd, among so many. I remember when Brother Ken Blinn went back to the Louisville, Kentucky Seminary. He went back there and took Greek. And they came to prepositions, and they put ace up on the board, and he said, yes, extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. And the teacher said, what? He said, how do you know that? Well, I took Greek. He said, we're not doing that kind of Greek. That's advanced Greek. That's just the preposition. But you need to know the action, because Acts 2:38's got something to do with that, doesn't it? You don't get baptized to get saved. You get baptized because you have been saved. Acts 2:38. And that ace there means a whole lot. 6 and verse 10. 6 and verse 10. A pain, hoesus, poi esate, tous, anthropus, ana paisan. Pain, de, kotos, polis, and topo, ane paisan, un hoi andres, ton arithmon, hos pentakis kilioi. Now here we are, almost a Pentecost, but it's not a Pentecost, it's a pentakis kilioi. See that kilioi in there? Kilo, how much is a kilo? That's 1,000. So this is 5,000. Okay? And he said to Jesus, third person singular, second aorist, indicative acting, and that comes from Lego, and it doesn't look like it at all, does it? But see, in the aorist tense, it changes. The Jesus. What does Jesus' name mean? What is his Hebrew name? What's Jesus' Hebrew name? Yahshua. What does Yahshua mean? Or Joshua? Jehovah saves. That's what his name means. All right. Wasn't that an appropriate name? All right. And then he said, ye make. Second person plural, first aorist imperative active. Ye make the ones men lay up. Lay up. That's second aorist infinitive active. Lay up. That's how they ate. They laid up to table. They didn't sit down to table. They laid up. So they laid up to their little knapsacks or pallets that they laid out there, and they laid up there, and then they would come by and they would break up bread and put it on each one's little towel or blanket or whatever. Okay? And they would distribute it. And it says, and they kept on or continued to be now grass much, kortos, polis much, in the place they laid up to eat. They laid up to eat. Therefore the men. Now, the word unhoi andres, that's actually in half brackets, so that means about half of the old manuscripts didn't have that. But we know what it's talking about anyway, don't we, whether you say it or not. And they laid up, therefore, the number. Arithmon. What number in English comes from that Greek word? Arithmon. What do you think about it, Brandy? Arithmon. Do your kids take arithmetic in school? Mm-hmm. You know where the word arithmetic came from? That word right there. All right. Arithmon, a number, a calculated number, about 5,000. 6 and verse 11. Eleben, tus, artus, ho asus, kai, eucharis tesos, diadokein, tois, anakemenois, homeois, kai, ek, ton, opsarion, hoson, ethalon. And therefore he received the loaves, the bread loaves, the barley loaves. You know, he might even change that into good old-fashioned #1 wheat when he got a hold of it. Who knows what? How, you know, God. This is a miracle. Okay, this is a miracle. And he changed therefore the loaves to Jesus, and having given thanks, eucharistesos. Look at that word, eucharistesos. What word in English comes from Eucharist? Testos, the Eucharist. The Catholic Church celebrates the Eucharist. Bon Dieu, that's French, isn't it? You know a little French, don't you, brother? Bon Dieu, what does bon Dieu mean? Good God. The good God. All right. Bon Dieu means a good God. In other words, the wafer, when they turn it into God, you eat the wafer and it transfers grace to you according to the Catholic Church. Okay? And that's what they call the Eucharist. First aorist. Participle. Active.
That means you give short prayers before your meal.
That's right. Punctual reaction.
Okay.
All right. What did he say? How many of you know what the words that Jesus said? Does anybody know here? Brother Roger, do you know what the words he said were? It'll take me a moment to look it up, but I can tell you what it said. Or maybe. Maybe I can. If I find it.
I didn't hear it.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
That means you don't pray so long that the food gets cold.
Huh? Yeah, you don't pray so long that the food gets cold. this is the place. Maybe, if I can find it. What's matzah?
Bread.
Bread. All right, sartos in Greek, but matzah in Hebrew. All right. Barak atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'alam hamatzi lechem min ha'aretz. That's what he said. How long did that take? What he says, blessed are you, O Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. And they would break it. And at the Passover, that's also what he said. All right? Let's say it together. Barak atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'alam hamatzi lechem min ha'aretz. Barak means what? Blessed. Atah, you are. Adonai, that's Jehovah. That's Adonai is really Jehovah, but they won't say Jehovah, so they say Adonai. Eloheinu, our God, that's in the possessive case, as we say, or the genitive. Melech,
King
ha-olam,
of the world, the universe.
all right, the king of the universe. All right. Hamatzi,
Who brings forth
to bring forth lehem,
bread
men,
from
ha'aretz.
the earth.
All right, the earth. Isn't he good? All right.
Oi.
If I fall over tomorrow, see, I got to replace. All right, that's what he said. Basically, thank you, Randall. Was that fun? All right.
Where did you get that?
Oh, that's what the Jews say at the Passover. That's what they say when they bless the bread. That's just you'll find that in every Jewish prayer book. I got half a dozen of them.
Can you write it down?
What?
Write it down.
Write that down. All right. Do you want me to do that, all of you? All right, we'll do that. Okay. All right. You want me to write it in English. You don't want me to write it in Hebrew, do you? All right, English. All right.
For the short bread.
You're making the joke about the Eucharist, right? When you said the Eucharist, what does that mean? No? Maybe not.
Here I'm trying to. This is not easy to do when you're looking at one language into the other. I'll tell you.
I'm sure you could Google that and find it on the internet very
Oh, I'm sure you could. Probably. That's it. Barak atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha-alam ha'aretz lehem men. What's that right down here? Oh, I really goofed that one up. Look at that one again. I can't even read my own writing, and I just wrote it.
Blessing. There's one blessing.
Hamatzi. Boy. Hamatzi. And then lehem. Lehem, that's bread. Men is from. That's on page 580. It looks like this in Hebrew. That's Hebrew. Well, it's backward. It goes man-ha-otters. All right, so we've chased that little rabbit a little bit. And he receives, therefore, the loaves, Jesus, and having given thanks, and that's what he said, and he distributed to the ones laying up. Likewise, in like manner, that's homeos, like manner, also, that's a cumulative particle right there, page 208, by the way. Out of the fish, as much as they kept on wishing. They kept on wishing. That's in perfect tense. All right, 6 and verse 12. Let's go to 6 and verse 12. Hos de ene place they saw lege tois mathetes autu synagogete ta perisu santa placemata hina me ti apolete. Now when, there we have a little adverb. You know that word host there? It's on page 444 in the Analytical Lexicon, and it plays a whole lot of parts. When now, that little weak adversative conjunctive particle, they were filled completely up. He says to the habitual learners of him, or mathetes, to the disciples of him, that's genitive, singular, masculine, third person pronoun, that autu there. That's the case of possession. They belong to him. Ye gather together, go together. The word synagogue, that's where the Jewish people go together, isn't it? That's where they gather, at a synagogue. By the way, the word synagogue and church do not mean the same things, do they? Synagogue means the place of going together. Church house is the place of going together, but the word ecclesia or church means what? One's called out, the called out. It's the people, not the building. Okay? But this is the building. All right? Ye gather together, synagogue, the things having been left over. Having been left over. Plasmata, little pieces. In order that, not anything, it may be lost. Look at that, third person singular, second aorist. It may be lost for itself. It's not going to wander off. Look at that, middle voice and subjunctive. All right? Middle voice and subjunctive. 6 and verse 13. Synagogon, un kai egemeson. Ek, tone, pente, artone, tone, krethanon, ha, epirisasusan, tois, bebra, kosin. And they gathered together, therefore, also. You can put and there, or you can use also there in the place of that. That's like it's a conjunction or a cumulative particle. They gathered together also, and they filled, because it's third person plural first aorist, indicative active, and they filled duodeca. Duo is 2 and deca means 10, so that means 12 kophinos, 12 baskets of fragments out of the 5 loaves of the barley bread, or the barleys literally, which is, they were left over to the ones having eaten. All these people that had eaten. Have you ever seen a bunch of hungry people, about 5,000 hungry people? Usually when they get free food, what do, Brother Mike? They eat twice as much as normal. All right, when it's free, you eat a whole lot, just walk away like that, stuffed. And these people were pretty hungry also. And they stuffed themselves. That's what it says. They stuffed themselves. And how much is left over? Huh? 12 baskets of fragments left over. And they only started out with 5 loaves. So what did God do here? Not Ezekiel, but Exodus. The Exodus, let's see if I can figure out where it is. Exodus. What does Exodus mean? It's a Greek word, isn't it? What does Exodus mean? How many of you know what Exodus means? The way out. In the 16th chapter of Exodus, and verse number 4, then Jehovah said to Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven to you, or for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I might test them whether or not they will ask or walk in my instruction. I'm going to see if I can trust them. He's going to rain bread down upon them. All the bread they can eat. They go out there and they're going to have enough no matter what they do. I don't care if there's 10 people in their families, they're going to have enough. If there's 3 people in there, they're not going to gather too much. It's just going to be enough for them to eat. And what is this word? I'm going to rain bread down from heaven. What was it called? Huh? Manna. Manna. Say manna. Manna. What does manna mean? What is it? They didn't know what it was. What did it taste like, by the way? Brandy, what did it taste like? What did it look like? Coriander seed. Have you ever seen coriander seed? Coriander seed is what? That's cilantro seed. Okay, coriander, cilantro seed. It looked like that, and what did it taste like? Tastes like honey. Very, very sweet. Okay? And I'll come about on the 6th day when they prepare what they bring in. It will be twice as much as they gather every day. So Moses and Aaron said to all the sons of Israel, At evening you will know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, for he hears your grumblings against the Lord. And what are we that we grumble against, that you grumble against us? And Moses said, This will happen, that the Lord gives you food to eat in the evening, and bread to the full in the morning. And the Lord hears your grumblings, which you grumble against him. And what are we? Your grumblings are not against us, but against the Lord. So now God, in the Old Testament, gave them bread. And Jesus, over and over again, and this is where he does it in the 6th chapter, and this is a long chapter. This is a long chapter. He continues to say to them over and over and over again, I am the bread that came down out of heaven. I am the bread. I am the bread. Not only in the 4th chapter, what did he tell the woman at the well? The rock that followed Israel in the wilderness, I am the water of life. And he tells again later on in this same chapter here, if you thirst, come unto me, and you'll never thirst again. And the bread he provided. And all of this, why did Jesus do all these miracles? Why did he do them? To prove that he was the Messiah. To prove that he was the Messiah. And these messianic credentials that he had is what God's going to do for us. Well, for the people on the earth, not for us. We're going to be up in heaven with him, see. That's what I want to be. During the millennium. These are previews of coming attractions in the millennium. Everybody will have enough to eat. God shall provide. All right, number 14. Hoi un anthropoi. Idontes. Ha epoiesin. Semeia. Elagon. Hote. Hutos. Estin. Alethos. Ho prophetes. Ho erkemenos. Ace ton cosmon. The ones, therefore, the men. That word men there, that's nominee plural masculine. Nominee plural singular would be omicron sigma on the end of it. Nominee plural masculine is omicron iota on the end, or OI, as you see there. And then having seen, that's the participle, nominative plural masculine, second participle active. A what or which is he did, a sign. Now that is in half brackets. That means some of the old manuscripts doesn't have that either. But let's just jump over that and see what some of the manuscript says. And the ones therefore men, having seen, they kept on saying. Third person plural, imperfect, indicative, active. All right? That's they kept on saying, because this one, he is third person singular, present, indicative, active. He is and continues to be truly aleithos. That's a little adverb. The prophet, prophetes, the one coming into the world. What Old Testament verses foretold this? Yeah, that's one. Where's the first verse in the Bible that is the promise of the Messiah? The seed of the woman. Genesis 3:15. All right? And it talks about it in John 1:21, Matthew 11:3 and 21 and verse 11, Acts 3:22 and 7:37, when old Stephen was talking about it. Stephen told Israel that he told them that he recounted the whole history of Israel before the Sanhedrin court. And then he got up to the last words, and they were saying, yea, yea, yeah, God picked us out, He chose us, and everything else. And he said, you crucified the God of glory. And then they killed him. Not only did they stone him, and Apostle Paul was there. Actually, he was called Saul at that time. And when they finished stoning him, what else did they do to that poor man? They ran out and chewed on him like wild dogs. Okay? Bit him with their teeth, and they kept on biting him with their teeth. That's the imperfect tense. 6 and verse 15. Asus, nous, hote, melusen, erkeste, kai, harpaxane, auton, hina, poesosen, basilia, anekoreson, Paulin, asto horos, autos monos. And therefore, having perceived that they were about to come and to seize him by force, that present infinitive active, in order that they might make, look at that subjunctive mode down there, they might do this, okay? If they're allowed that way. They might make a king out of him. And he departed again. And that word Paul in there, that's an adverb, and it means back again, to the Oros, the mountains, him only, by himself. Oros. What's the word for mountain in Hebrew, Brother Roger? Or. All right, almost the same thing. All right. Rebecca, would you like to bring that Amplified Bible up here and read up here from verse 6 on up to where we are and smooth it out real good, Brother Roger?
When it says he departed, does that suggest?
That he went away.
Yeah.
Okay. He transported himself.
Okay.
All right? He may have dematerialized and materialized. He may have, like Spock, beam me up, or whatever, you know. All right.
6 to 15.
Yep.
But he said this to prove or test him, for he well knew what he was about to do. Philip answered him, 200 pennies, $40 worth of bread is not enough for what everyone may receive, or so that enough that everyone may receive even a little. Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, there is a little boy here who has with him 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish, but what are they among so many people? Jesus said, make all the people recline, sit down. Now the ground, a pasture, was covered with thick grass at the spot, So the men threw themselves down, about 5,000 in number. Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to the reclining people. So also he did with the fish, as much as they wanted. When they had all had enough, he said to his disciples, "Gather up now the fragments, the broken pieces that are left over, so that nothing may be lost and wasted." So accordingly they gathered them up, and they filled 12 small hand baskets with fragments left over by those who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves. When the people saw the miracle that Jesus had performed, they began saying, "Surely and beyond a doubt this is the prophet who is to come into the world." Then Jesus, knowing that they meant to come and seize him, that they might make him king, withdrew again to the hillside by himself alone.
All right, thank you. All right, 6 and verse 16 now. We're covering some ground, but this is a long chapter. Hos, de, opsia, ageneto, kata bason, hoi, mathete, autu, epi, tain, thalasane. When. Now this little old host there acts like an adverb, doesn't it? All right, page 444 is what page it's on. And then conjunction, weak, adversive, conjunctive particle, page 85. And then hopsia, the late hour is what it means, the late hour. The real evening. It had become. For itself, time just goes on right by itself, doesn't it? You don't have to do anything to hurry it along. A lot of people used to do something to kill time, remember? Killing time. You don't have to kill time. Time takes care of itself. It just passes right on. Third person singular, second aorist, indicative, middle voice. Do you see how the moods, the modes, how that they play a part? And they went down, third person plural, second aorist, indicative, active, the disciples belonging to him. What's the word disciples mean? Habitual learners. All right? Upon the sea. Epitain thalasane. That thing, sea. What's the word for sea in Hebrew, brother, or waters in Hebrew? Meh. Yeah. All right. 6 and verse 17. Kai embontes, eis ploion, erkonta, peran tes thalases, eis Capharnaum, Kai Scotia, Ede, Egegone, Kai Opso Elelese, Pros Altus Ho Jesus. And having left off, having embarked, having left off, and here we have the word ace. The word ace, again, that's the extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. If you will use the word in reference to, many times when you see the word ace, that will give you the idea of that action. All right? Brother Randall, do you remember what the sign of the direct object is in Hebrew? Et. All right. Et. We have a sign of the direct object here, and we got one in Hebrew too, don't we? Like that. That's the two. Ace. And the word ace looks just like it does in English, doesn't it? Just like that. Ace. Having embarked in a boat, they kept on coming across Patron, beyond the sea. And now we have the word ace again. To Capharnaum. Capharnaum. What kind of language is that, Brother Roger?
Aramaic.
Aramaic. What does it mean?
Like blessed.
Okay, all right. Where do we get the word kafar? Kafar, that's Hebrew and Aramaic both. What's that mean? Covering. And then the home. Beloved covering or beloved home. That's what it means. The home I love. Home, sweet home. As you see on the deal that said home, sweet home, that's exactly what this means. Home, sweet home. And scotia, that's darkness. Darkness. Already now, already, had come. It had come. All right? It's kind of a durative, pluperfect. It had become, and not yet. It had come in the process of coming toward them, the Jesus. He had not been in the process of coming toward them. 6:18. Now, he te thalase, enomu, megalu, non tes de erge reto. The sea both wind great blowings. Kept on being aroused. Kept on being aroused. That means to wake up thoroughly. All right, to wake up thoroughly. And it has the idea to wake up thoroughly, to wake up early a monster. Who was the monster of the deep? Who was the monster of the deep? Leviathan. Monster of the deep. Now, Leviathan is not a whale. Leviathan is a supernatural creature. All right? The Leviathan is a supernatural creature, and it's also known as what else in the book of Exodus? Brother Roger, you remember that one? Brother Randall? Cindy girl, you know what that one is? Tanin. That's the Tanin. That's the monster. That's the dragon. The dragon of the deep. Now, where are we? Where is this taking place? Where is this event taking place? The Sea of Galilee. All right? Or Knesset, or Sea by Tiberias, whatever you want to call it. It's got all those names. Now, that sea is pretty deep. I can't remember how deep, but I think it's in the deepest place 600 feet deep or something like that. And that's pretty deep if you look at it like that. And by the way, it's below sea level. There are saltwater springs in the bottom of that coming from the Mediterranean up. And that's where that salt water goes all the way down the Jordan Rift. You can fly from the Dead Sea all the way to the Sea of Galilee below sea level in an airplane. Did you know that? Fly below sea level. It's a deep rift. This, when the Jews took possession of that land, they went down in the bottom of that lake and they stopped up a lot of the salt springs so the water was fresher. The Dead Sea, the reason why it has so much salt in it is because from the salt springs in the Sea of Galilee, which mix with the fresh water and go down and settle in that big lake down there, which is called the Dead Sea. And it's dead because nothing in it's alive. It's too much salt and minerals and things in it. Back to the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee, according to rabbinical history and rabbinical legend, was what? That's the doorway or the gates of hell. The entrance to hell. Now, I'm not saying that it is, but that's what they believed. And they believed there was a great Leviathan that caused all of the storms out there. And this Leviathan had wings to flap. It was like a dragon or a sea serpent, but it had wings, and it actually breathed fire and smoke. And it could really blow and howl and scream. And how many of you have been out in a howling storm when a storm just howls? Okay? That's what they were in. They were in a howling storm, okay? And according to their philosophy and theology and tradition, the Leviathan was stirred. Somebody was going to go to hell. All right? And somebody might be going to hell or to the place of departed spirits right out of that boat. Hell's coming up to get you, okay? Hell's reaching its arms up to grab you. 6 and verse 19 now. Elekontes, un hos stadios, ekosi, pante, triakonte, therusen, ton, esu, peri patunta, epites thalases. Here we have a miracle. And then having rode there for about 3 or 4 miles, furlongs 25, 3 or 4 miles, or 30, 25 or 30 furlongs, which is 3 to 4 miles. The lake's about 6 miles crossed. They're out there in the middle of the lake. Okay, they're in the middle of the Sea of Galilee. And they beheld, their eyes were fixed. Third person plural present indicative active. Our word theater comes from that. The word theater. Upon the Jesus, walking. That's accusative singular masculine, present participle active, walking upon the sea. They're looking at Jesus walking upon the sea. He's walking on the sea. Upon the sea. 619b, Chi. Now, how would we say this word right here? This epsilon, gamma, gamma, eros, or epsilon, sigma. How do we say that? Remember the rule of the rule of pronunciation in Hebrew. I'm not in Hebrew, but in Greek. I get them mixed up. When you have the word that word right there, what is that word? Huh? Angelos. So when you got 2 gammas in a row, what do you do with the first one? You turn it into an and. Okay? So let's say this. Angus, Angus, Angus. Ton pluion. Pluio, that is. Genomenon. Chi. Etho. Be saucein. And an adverb of place. And near the boat. Having become. All right? Present participle middle voice. Suddenly. Suddenly becoming. And they kept on being struck out of their senses. Like seeing a ghost, an angel, some phantom, Loch Ness Monster, Leviathan, Bigfoot. Something that's not normal. Something that is beyond explanation. Have you ever seen anybody walk on water? I mean, you can see anything in the movies. They can pretend anything. They can put glass out there, do whatever, put water out there, and somebody walk across it. Have you ever seen anybody really walk on water? There's a Jesus lizard in there. Huh? It's got real big feet, and he moves real fast, and he's real light, and he runs across the top of the water. If a fish doesn't jump up and get him. But he doesn't go very far. He's walking. He's not running. He's walking on water, and he's not sinking. Because Jesus is the master of the universe. Hode legay. Altois. Ego eme. Kai. Amen. Pho bethe. I see this. I see Hebrew sometimes. I start saying it in Hebrew instead of English. But the one, he says to them, I, ego eimi. I am. I am. That is, what term is he using right there? I am. What part of the Old Testament is he actually quoting? Huh? Cindy? Exodus 3:14. I am. Moses said, who should they say that you are? What God are you? What is your name? And he said, I am. I am the ever existing one. And not ye be afraid for yourselves. Look at that word middle voice in there. It's an imperative. It's a command. But don't be afraid for yourselves. Don't be afraid. Don't let it bother you inside. Because I am your master. I'm the master of the heavens and the earth.
Question.
Yes.
The Hebrew language in Exodus, was it accurately I am, or was it I shall become?
The becoming one. Yeah.
But ego eimi, that's how they translate.
That's a Septuagint.
Okay, but in the original it wasn't I am. It was
Asher
slightly different, wasn't it?
Haya Esher. Isn't it? Something like that? Asher, Asher,
I remember
Haya, Asher.
something to the effect of I shall be.
I am that I am. I am that I am. That's what it means. Haya is where it comes from. That means the becoming one. I am the ever-existing one, and I am the becoming one. All right, 6:21. Ethalon. Am I going too fast for you? Rebecca.
Well, I just had a question. In my New King James, it just says, "It is I, do not be afraid."
Oh yeah. Well,
But then in the Amplified, and then it says, "It is I, be not afraid," and then in brackets it says, "I am."
I am. Yeah. That's what it literally says. Ego eimi. He's actually quoting Exodus 3:14 in the Septuagint. I am. All right. Asher, Haya, Asher. Athalon, Un, Labain, Alton. Come on, fellers and girls, my little childrens. Ace, To, Ployon, Kai, Euthios, Aganato, To, Ployon, Epi, Tais, Gase, Ace, Ain, Pagon. And they kept on wishing, therefore, to receive him into the boat. Everything's going to be right if Jesus is here. If Jesus is here, everything's going to be all right. And immediately, a little adverb there, and immediately, and that's on page 15, by the way, it became. Third person singular, second aorist indicative, middle voice. It became the boat upon the land to which they kept on rowing, or under rowing, literally. To lead under. They led the boat under. That's what you call rowing. To lead under, literally. They kept on rowing. 6:22. Here we go back to bread again. Te Eparion ho oklos ho hestekos paran tes thalases edon hote ploia aroion alo uk ein ake a me hen kai hote u sin ace elthane tois mathetes, and it goes on. Autu ho asus ace to ployon ala manoi hoi mathete autu apelthon. During the next day, the crowd. How many is the crowd? How many people is that? 5,000 to 7,000 people. The one, having stood across the sea, they saw that boat, other not, it kept on being there, except one, and that not, he came together with the disciples of him, the Jesus, in the boat, but alone. The one's disciples of him, they went away. One's disciples of him went away. (6:23) Alla, Elthane, Ploia, Ek, Tiberiastos, Ingus, To, Topu, Popu, Aphagon, Ton, Arton, Eucharistes Sontos, that is, 2, Kyrio. But came boats, little boats, out of Tiberias. Remember, this is when Herod named this place after the third emperor of the Roman Empire, Caesar. This is one of the only places that's used in the whole New Testament. Near the place where they had eaten, or where they ate, the bread. Having given thanks to to the Lord, or of the Lord. Tiberias is mentioned in John only, 6:1, 23, and 2:1. (6:24), and that's where we'll finish for tonight. 6:24. Hote, un, Adain, ho, oklos. Hote, asus, uk, eston, eke, ude, hoi, mathete, autu, enabason, autoi, ace, ta, thoiaria, kai, elthon, ace, gapharnahum, zaytontes, ton, asu. And what this is a parenthetical statement explained in 6 and verse 22. Some people still wanted to make Jesus king. And when therefore he saw the crowd, that Jesus not he is there, nor the disciples of him, they embarked, them or they, in a little boat, another little boat, the Ploiaria, and they went to Capernaum. For Capernaum means a beloved home, seeking the Jesus. They went to Capernaum seeking the Jesus. Rebecca, you want to bring that back up and read this back to where we are up to verse 24. So we went from 6:5 through 24. All right.
Can we pick up where we left off?
Yeah.
Okay. And when evening came, his disciples went down to the sea, got into the boat, and went... I got the wrong one up here.
Okay.
Sorry.
That would have worked, but the other one is more in the Greek explanatory.
Sorry.
Girl's got 3 Bibles in front of her. She's really a student.
When evening came, his disciples went down to the sea, and they took a boat and were going across the sea to Capernaum. It was now dark, and still Jesus had not yet come back to them. Meanwhile, the sea was getting rough and rising high because of the great and violent wind that was blowing. However, when they had rowed 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and approaching the boat. They were afraid, terrified. But Jesus said to them, "It is I, be not afraid. I am. Stop being frightened." Then they were quite willing and glad for him to come into the boat. And now the boat went at once to the land they had steered toward. And immediately they reached the shore toward which they had been slowly making their way. The next day the crowd that still remained, standing on the other side of the sea, realized that there had been only one small boat there, and that Jesus had not gone into it with his disciples, but that his disciples had gone away by themselves. But now some other boats from Tiberias had come in near the place where they ate the bread after the Lord had given thanks. So the people, finding that neither Jesus nor his disciples were there, themselves got into the small boats and came to Capernaum looking for Jesus.
All right, thank you. So they went across the boat. How fast did that boat get across that 4 miles? Pretty instantly. How do you think the boat got there from the middle of the lake? It went 3 miles real fast.
The Leviathan came up from down below.
Lifted up on its back and took it right over there. Did God ever have a Leviathan?
Yeah.
Huh? Where was that?
Wasn't it with Jonah?
When Aaron, well, maybe even Jonah. Jonah, that fish that took Jonah may have been a Leviathan. All right, but where else in the Old Testament was this Leviathan? Huh? The staff. Aaron's rod that became the Leviathan, the dragon down on the floor. All right. What? Yes. Mm-hmm. A Leviathan is a very large supernatural creature, regardless. Very large creature. A lot of people try to make it a dinosaur, but it doesn't quite fit. Of course, there are creatures out there. They've been looking for giant squid lately, haven't they? Oh, looking all over for these giant squid. They're great big things. And octopi And there are fish out there in the ocean that they have never seen. Did you know that? There are things on this earth that no man has ever seen. And there's still some of them around. It occurred to me, even the Loch Ness Monster. Up in Kamloops, up in British Columbia, there's a lake up there that's got a monster in it like a leviathan. Okay? The Loch Ness Monster is basically a leviathan, a sea serpent, and so is that one up there in that big lake in Canada, which is about 200 miles long. Any other questions concerning all this tonight that we've studied? We're trying to move along. I got better than 10 verses tonight. My whole plan was to make 10 verses at a time. Rebecca laughed when I said that. Sometimes we don't get very far. But we moved along. Brother John, it's good to have you here with us. All the way from Shafter. We missed you in so many, many classes. Would you like to come up here tonight and dismiss us in prayer, brother? Brother John's been coming to the class for quite a few years now. How long, brother?
Oh, maybe 4 or 5.
I thought it had been longer than that. But
It
time
might
flies.
have been,
All right.
Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this time. It's a joy to look into your word and get instruction, Lord. We thank you for our brother Jim, so highly qualified, Lord, to teach the scriptures. We just thank you, Lord, for your grace and truth that is before us every time we look into your word. We ask you to direct us in all that we say and do. Guide us, and we give you the praise and all the honor and glory in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Do you have any questions before I turn you loose on the world? Go out and do something eternal? Brandy, you always got a question or something?
I do.
Yeah.
Back to the I am.
Uh-huh.
When he spoke it originally, it wasn't in Greek.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Here it was.
Well, here it was.
Yes.
But back in Exodus.
But the translation of it was, and that's the common translation that they used when he quoted the Septuagint, not the Hebrew most of the time.
Okay.
You have to realize that he was quoting the Septuagint almost all the time. Paul used some Hebrew. The writer of the book of Hebrews did not use any Hebrew. None. 0.
But this is definitely Greek. This is not
Yes.
Aramaic or
No.
any of
No. Every now and then, like, Kafar Nahum and stuff like that, we'll see Aramaic coming out. Hebrew and Aramaic are very close. They're sister languages. Okay? Anything else? No. Young man, you got anything else? All right. All right. Go out and do something eternal. Randall, if you wait around, I'll handle this thing for you if you want.